Nick Wilson reporting for News for the Poor. This will just be an audio podcast form. Or probably boring. I am simply going to report what is out there on the interwebs. This is from Jacobin.com. It is spelled Jacobin. They call themselves a leading voice of the American left, offering socialist perspectives on politics, economics, and culture. Socialist, that's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? Socialist economics. The print magazine is released quarterly and reaches 75,000 subscribers in addition to a web audience of over 3 million a month. Now, this was published 4/11/22 in the France Feminism Theory category. It is entitled, At the Dawn of Capitalism, Charles Fourier Imagined a Socialist Feminist Utopia by Liza Featherstone. 2.5 centuries after his birth, the insightful, outlandish, yet oddly practical ideas of the utopian socialist writer Charles Fourier still seem shockingly modern. 2.5 centuries ago last week, Charles Fourier was born in Besançon, France, the son of a successful small businessman. He became a salesman for a cloth merchant in Lyon, as well as a witty, imaginative writer. And as a socialist and feminist thinker, he was far ahead of his time. Indeed, Fourier is sometimes credited with inventing the term feminism. Not only a staunch advocate of women's equality, he was also one of the first to understand that the patriarchal order could not be fully destroyed without socialism. Fourier was also far ahead of his time in understanding how gender politics were intertwined with all social reaction and progress. In 1808, he wrote, As a general proposition, social progress and changes of period are brought about by virtue of the progress of women towards liberty, and social retrogression occurs as a result of a diminution in the liberty of women. Other events influence these political changes, but there is no cause which produces social progress or decline as rapidly as a change in the condition of women. After his death, Friedrich Engels credited him with the idea of alienation, that under capitalism, we lack a personal connection to our work because it profits someone else. Fourier's ideas inspired Marx and Engels to further develop the idea of alienated labor. He imagined small, communal societies in which work would be enjoyed, attractive work. In libidinal, partly because of participants' love for the collective, but also because, when possible, people could be assigned to work they enjoyed. Most people don't, for example, like smelly garbage and getting dirty, but little boys do. Why not? Then, he reasoned, give young boys the dirty, stinky jobs. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. This is just a joke. What the fuck is this? Oh, my God. Check, read it. Fourier has many imaginative and weirdly practical ideas along these lines. He imagined that in his utopian community, no one would need to go without sex. That's how they go with the children too. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is this? This is for real? Jesus Christ! What the fuck? This is a leading voice of the American left. What the fuck? What the fuck? How was I ever a fucking Democrat? This is a leading voice on the American left. Jesus Christ! They're indirectly advocating for fucking free sex with children. I don't think that is a mistake. I don't think that's a coincidence. This gets edited. You'd think that, someone like me or everybody would put these two things together. Like how... This is ridiculous. This is an act of... What the hell has gone on in this country over the last 10 years? How did it go to hell this fast? What the fuck is this? Even libidinal, partly because of participants' love for the collective, but also because when possible, people could be assigned to work they enjoy. Most people don't, for example, like smelly garbage and getting dirty, but little boys do. Why not then, he reasoned, give young boys the dirty, stinky jobs. Next sentence. Fourier has many imaginative and weirdly practical ideas along these lines. They go along these lines, you see. Many practical ideas that go along these lines, like giving little boys, these stinky jobs. He imagined that in his utopian community, no one would need to go without sex. The only thing separating that is a paragraph break. This article is pedophilic. Am I wrong? I just picked this out. I didn't read it. You could probably tell I was kind of stumbling through. What the fuck is this shit? How am I everything I look at is a fucking shock. Everything I look at, just randomly. Just like, oh, let's see what Jacobin.com is doing. Okay, there's a leading voice on the left. Oh, they're writing about this Charles Fourier guy here. Oh, he's a weirdo. He writes really weird, funny stuff. And, he wrote this really weird fucking utopian philosophy. It was like really just kind of outlines his OCD problem. Everything's numbered. 68 of this, 3 of this, million of this. Everything's got categorized and everything's everything's divided and everything's perfectly squared off and everything's in categories, labeled by numbers. Like, yeah, okay, you got OCD, buddy. But I'm interested in him because he has radical, delusional, I mean, he's crazy. He's a lunatic. Who knows what the fuck they were doing back? Two. I'm not even going to go there, okay? But I just picked this article out and I was like, oh, okay, I need to get better at not getting so amped up. And here I go again. I just got really amped up. But, okay, we're going to finish it. Okay, here we go. Okay, after his death, okay, stinky jobs. Oh my God, this is, okay. The recently rejected or otherwise sexually deprived, that is an indirect, the recently rejected or otherwise sexually deprived, who would be sexually deprived in this scenario where everyone gets free love now? Everyone automatically let's just say everybody now gets Charles Fourier free love right now. So as of right now, if every human being that's alive is in play, who would be the sexually deprived? All I'm doing is deductive rhetorical criticism here. That's all I'm doing. This is what I'm picking up from this. Am I crazy? I mean, they can write about whatever they want to. I'm not saying that's wrong. I can feel about it however I want to. And that's not wrong. So, okay. Moving on. Otherwise sexually deprived could be visited by an army of lovers. That's in quotes. Army of lovers. And then this is in brackets. And yes, that would become the name of a 1980s pop act. Okay. The appeal of the idea grows when one considers the violent crimes and terrible right-wing politics, sometimes perpetuated by incels in our contemporary world. Though it's not hard to guess why the idea has never taken... It's not hard to guess why the idea has never taken hold in any actual human community. Just free pedophilic love? Okay. I think that's probably a good thing. I would venture to say that the vast majority of human beings agrees with what I just said there. I'm talking like in the 99.9%. Hopefully. However, some of Fourier's ideas are mainstream today. I hope not. He was way ahead of his time in advocating for the acceptance of homosexuality. Okay, good. Good point. That's fine. I don't have, why would anybody have an opinion on that? I just don't get that. Whatever. That's like Catholic, that's religious bullshit doctrine. That's nonsense. Whatever. I just made an enlightening statement right there, so. The socialist society he envisioned was partly agrarian and based in small cooperative societies of about 80 to 100 people, in which all chores and child rearing would be shared. Blanca Mises, a professor in the French department at San Francisco State, argued in a 2002 paper that Fourier could be read as an ancestor of social reproduction theory. A strain of socialist feminist thought that has enjoyed a revival in recent years. Sexual liberation was also central to his vision, in sharp contrast to the prevailing mores of his day. Women and men over 18 would be free to choose their sexual partners, and there would be no economic need or moral pressure obligating anyone to be part of a nuclear family or marriage. Okay. What is this? Why are people trying to dictate this? Why is this even a topic? So in sharp contrast to the prevailing mores of his day, women and men over 18 would be free to choose their sexual partners. Okay. They weren't before? Or do you mean just like the nobles couldn't? So like the one percenters, they all married for political reasons, but we're just throwing out the, okay, that's fine. And there would be no economic need or moral pressure obligating anyone to be a part of a nuclear family or marriage. Okay, and there would be no economic need or moral pressure. So the economic need, that's just a thought. That's just a manufactured anxiety. Or do you mean like you want to hold on to your one little chunk of whatever that you think you own? Is that what he's talking about? So the trappings of your success come into play here, like what you own owns you kind of thing? Okay. Well, I thought we were all going to be socialists. Isn't that what this was all about? So everything was going to be free, right? So this has already been established, I thought. Sorry, this shit's pissing me off. That's why I love reading it so much. Okay. Okay, great. Fourier's socialism is a pleasure-centered one, in which humans, I bet Nicole Kidman would probably like that, is a pleasure-centered one in which humans can enjoy work, sex, friendship, food, and many other delights of all ages. Significantly, too, given that he came of age during the French Revolution, Fourier understood the ideal of freedom. That makes literally no sense, what she just said there. I don't care. We're not doing backtracks here. I'm not doing that with this. With this specific phrase, I am refusing to just let this be labeled dialectic. Significantly, too, given that he came of age during the French Revolution, Fourier understood the ideal of freedom. So he understood. So he had an intimate I gotta do this. What is an ideal? Does everyone know what an ideal is? I'm just going to get the definition so I don't. Satisfying one's conception of what is perfect, or existing only in the imagination, desirable or perfect, but not likely to become a reality. Okay, that makes no sense. Perfect is not a reality, period. It is not. Never was, never is, never will be perfect. It is only in your head. What is perfect? What's perfect to me isn't perfect to you. And what is perfect to each one of us, that individual conception, that abstract mean, is an ideal that is unachievable. It is like reaching for the sun and trying to grab it. Oh, I'm going to grab it. That's an ideal. Going back. He understood the ideal of freedom. So he intimately knew. He's played around with it. He's gotten under its hood. He's changed its oil. He's changed its diaper. He understands how it works. He can command it. That's what understand means. Like, I understand English, therefore I can command it. So he understands the perfect abstract conception of freedom. Freedom. The power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants, without hindrance or restraint. Or absence of subjection to foreign domination or despotic government. The state of not being imprisoned or enslaved. So somehow he understood that. He understood what that was. And I'm about to play a trick on you. Now, so do you. I just explained it to you, so you understand it now too. Hard, huh? Real difficult. See how I just did that? You see how I imprisoned your mind on what? How could anyone even possibly understand the abstract conception of the perfect ideal of what freedom is? Yeah, no, I just explained it to you. So now you understand it too. Pretty simple. This shit's not hard. Just you don't let people enslave your mind. If you let people tell you what to do and think all the time, well, what do you do when they're not telling you what to do or think? Oh my God, you're probably feeling a lot of anxiety. My God, that atrophied inner monologue is probably like Huey Lewis's, whatever that old time rock and roll song. Is that what that is? No. You do. But New York, is it everything you say? There's no place I'd rather be. Where else can you do 500,000 things all at 2:45? When they play that music, that rockin' music, but still I see an old rockin' rhythm that really, really drives them wild. They say the heart of rock and roll is still beating. And from what I've seen, I believe 'em. Now the old man is barely breathing. That's it. Chad, come on. You almost fell off. This is my cat, Chad. Please. Do not sneeze. Come on. Just come on. You're already embarrassing me. Fucking cat lady. Get the fuck off. Okay, so now we can go back to that after that little intermission. And many other delights. Significantly, during the French Revolution, ideal of freedom. And at once, wow, what a hollow notion it was for most people under capitalism. Well, yeah, I mean, framed like that, yes, it's a hollow notion for everyone, because, we all understand what that would be. It's just a conception. It's a concept that was built. Actually sold. It's a concept that has been sold and keeps getting resold over and over and over again. It is a mimetic virus that needs to be eradicated. And the only way to do that is to help people not be embarrassed and help them think for themselves. So explain this stuff, because you're not thinking for yourself. The phone's doing it, the television's doing it, your friends are doing it, your family's doing it, your husband's doing it, your wife's doing it, your kids doing it, parents doing it. Everybody's just needling you. Socialism, communism, fascism, all these isms are just mind traps. They are mind traps. And once you're writing articles like this and indirectly advocating for free child love, this person has a few layers of mediatization that need to be peeled off. She needs to do it herself, but nobody can do it for her. She needs to do it for herself. But I mean, this is shocking. This is going to be like an hour long. And when I started this, I was just going to, a minute in, I was going to stop. Jesus God. I was thinking to myself, I'm not reading this well. It's kind of late. And got all fired up. Hollow notion. In the aftermath of the revolution, in which he fought and served time in prison. Oh, you don't say. A free love with children advocator? Did some prison? Okay. Never would have thought that. He was disillusioned writing. Oh, here's a quote. Philosophy was right to vaunt liberty. It is the foremost desire of all society's creatures. But philosophy forgot that in civilized societies, liberty is illusionary if the common people lack wealth. When the wage-earning classes are poor, their independence is as fragile as a house without foundations. The free man who lacks wealth immediately sinks back under the yoke of the rich. The newly freed slave takes fright at the need of providing for his own subsistence and hastens to sell himself back into slavery in order to escape this new anxiety that hangs over him like Damocles' sword. End quote. Along with liberty, he found the other two buzzwords of the French Revolution: equality and fraternity. Equally ridiculous as long as people suffered from economic precarity. Precarity. Sorry, I'm dyslexic, so it took me a long time to teach myself how to get to this point. I mean, it takes a stubborn ass man, an uncontrollable man, really, to be this hard-headed, to be like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be good at this. This is what I do have. Everybody's dyslexia is different. Not the same, it's different. And this is going to get weird, but I kind of feel the words a bit. And the syllables pop out at me when I'm reading. Because it's like the letters jumble. Like if I twist my head, like if I come back to it, if I just look over to the left or right and then I come back to the screen, I have to take a second and be like, wait a minute. And then I got to like refocus. And then it's like sometimes I'll lose. It's almost like I drop into like that trance that you have to use for those weird 3D pictures. You have to like unfocus your eyes. Anyway, this is another weird segue. Sober as a judge, I'm just blatantly honest. I pull no punches. So I hate how everybody says I have no filter. Yeah, fuck you. You don't fucking have no filter. Yeah, I just accuse the federal government and the vaccine industry of eugenics. That's no filter. I did that on social media. So in video essay form. And I proved it rhetorically. So whatever. That's no filter. Go watch your Desperate Housewife DVDs. Along with liberty, that was mean, I'm sorry. Women have ruined my life. Anyway, along with liberty, he found the other two buzzwords, French religion, equally ridiculous, and were forced to endure hunger or wage slavery. While Fourier didn't envision a completely classless society, he did imagine a splendid minimum standard of living that everyone would share. Marx and Engels didn't suffer from any prissy, interesting word choice, aversion to Fourier's ideas, even his more outlandish ones. Is she alluding to the child love thing again? Nor did they fail to take him seriously. So they didn't fail to take him seriously. So they took him seriously. Thank you. Oh, God damn it. Was that her attempt at dialectic? That's sad. It's not sad. As some self-professed Marxists have. So some self-professed Marxists don't take Fourier seriously. So what she's saying is that those people aren't Marxists. They're not true fans. They're not true fans. Did you know I was at your show in 92? Their main criticism of what they called utopian socialism wasn't the sex or the whimsicality. In their view, Fourier and other thinkers like him, Henry de Saint-Simon, for example, Chad, don't sneeze, had no concept of how their imagined society might come about, and they lacked a class analysis. So, for example, had no concept of how their imagined society might come about. So they never wasted an excessive amount of time meticulously outlining their fantasies on paper? Well, they're not devoted socialists then. They're not true Marxists. And they lacked class analysis. Yep, so they didn't waste any time on class analysis. Marx and Engels understood that capitalists would want to keep their wealth and property and would therefore fight to preserve capitalism and would have the state on their side. Marx and Engels understood that capitalists, so they understood that humans would not like all of their property stolen. Interesting. Really? That is truly surprising. That they would conceptualize that. Who would ever dream that someone would get upset if you didn't return their rake or pickle jar or whatever? Empty can or three-legged chair or whatever. Right? Okay. And would have the state on their side. They would? Are you sure about that? I don't know if wait. I was kind of suspecting this for a second, but I think I'm tipping more towards, I'm going to lean towards this article is either a joke or from an alternate reality. Because she just said that the state would be on human side. She wrote that. It's not a quote. She wrote it. Well, I'm quoting her, but she wrote that. Fourier didn't write that. She wrote that. Huh. And they understood. So hold on. Marx and Engels understood that capitalists would want to keep their wealth and property and would therefore fight to preserve capitalism, so their property, they would fight to not be stolen from, and would have the state on their side. Honey, woman, what is this? What are you talking about? The state is on the state side. They're not on human side. And all three of you understand this? All three of you understand the opposite of reality? This socialists don't like the state. So in this context, are you an idiot? Do you understand how to contextualize your sentences? Marx and Engels understood that capitalists would want to keep their wealth and property and would therefore fight to preserve capitalism and would have the state on their side. So you're speaking about, in this sentence, you're speaking about the state, the capitalist state. And so we're in a capitalist state right now, right? So all the socialists want to fight the capitalist state. They don't like the capitalist state. Right? Nobody likes the capitalist state. The capitalist state, whose side is the capitalist state on? They're on their own side. That's it. That's just their side. It's them against us. What is this? What is this? It doesn't make any sense. This is not dialectical. This is syntactic. You are a fool. My God, they charge people for this shit. That's just robbery. This is highway robbery. And then some. This is highway robbery and just wrong. And you're talking to ideologically possessed, inflated people. You're just trying to stir the pot more of people that are in your cult. So, the people that you keep in constant shock and awe. So they never realize, they never have a chance to think about, wait a minute, hold on. So if all of this is just the means of, right? So we're on the means of production, right? So the means, that's just a thought. It's a thought. It is you can call it a drive or a motivation. It's a thought to produce. The producers. Clinton Roosevelt is a producer. He's a stakeholder. He gives so much, never gets anything in return. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to go read Clinton Roosevelt. But you're getting snowed. It's all this is. Because what's your concept of socialism? You have a personalized concept of socialism. And a practical application of the concept of socialism results in a political game of musical chairs where eventually there's just one person left. This is a philosophical layout for you. So, like, for example, Stalin's idea of communism did not match Leon Trotsky's idea of communism. So, therefore, Leon Trotsky got ice-picked in Mexico. This is a good time for this line. Chuck Palahniuk. On a long enough timeline, was it everything? On a long enough timeline, everything drops to zero? Everything is zero? What is it? I forget what it is. That's just undramatic and sad, what I just did there, but it's all right, Chuck. I'll go on. I hope Palahniuk's not a Marxist. Shit. Marx and Engels understood blah, 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 blah. Preserve capitalism. Yes. We want to preserve it. It would, therefore, take a revolution spearheaded by the material losers of capitalism to achieve socialism. They had a theory of the political struggle that would bring socialism into being, imagining that the agent of that change would be the proletariat, the working class, while Fourier and other utopian socialists seemingly imagined that everyone would see the benefits of living under more joyous and rational arrangements. Ah, yes. The rational. Or the legitimate. That's a good socialist word. Are you legitimate? Are your thoughts legitimate? I hope so. I'll be watching your every move, examining your micro-expressions to see if I'm convinced that your thoughts are socialist enough. If they're legitimate thoughts, and if not, you may need a freedom wash. Okay, stop sneezing, please. Sorry, I take care of cats. I'm a cat lady. Please stop. I don't know how long this article, I hope it's not very long. Okay, it's almost over. Oh, God. They had a theory of the political struggle that would bring socialism into being, imagining that the agent of that change would be the proletariat, the working class, while Fourier and other utopian socialists seemingly imagined that everyone would see the benefits of living under more joyous and rational arrangements. The utopian socialist communities, inspired by thinkers like Fourier, satirized in Nathaniel Hawthorne's prudishly purent 1852 novelle, The Blithedale Romance, hoped their example would show others that socialism worked, and because of that widespread realization, it would then be widely adopted. The road to utopian socialism is a voluntaristic one. There is something oddly charming about the fact that they were so convinced of the appeal of reorganization of society along their preferred lines. That's eugenics. Jesus Christ. The road to utopian socialism is a voluntaristic one. No, it's not. It is not. That is just a bold-faced fucking lie. It is a zero-sum game. I just explained it 5 minutes ago how it was a zero-sum game. Philosophically, logically, proved it. So that's incorrect. There is something oddly charming about the fact that they were so convinced of the appeal of reorganization. She finds, I was just going to say it, she finds eugenics oddly charming. There is something oddly charming about the fact that they were so convinced of the appeal. They were so attracted to what would, in the future, what their concepts would be carried out, even today. And she thinks that's oddly charming. Reorganization of society, that's trimming the fat. We all know what that means. A reorganization of society. That's trimming the fat. Why is one person deciding that that society needs a reorganization? First of all, that is eugenics. Because some people will not be down with your plan. What are you going to do about them? Again, going back to now 7 minutes ago, I proved logically that socialism, utopian or not, is a zero-sum game. So how are you going to reorganize society if people aren't down with your reorganization? Are you just going to give up? You know what? Yeah, you're probably just going to give up. You're probably really close to giving up, aren't you? I know you Marxists are really close to giving up. It's not a religion or anything. It doesn't just keep spawning over and over, everything getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more deviant and maladjusted and formed and just, it's like Toxic Avenger. So she's just, okay, so she finds eugenics oddly charming because they're reorganizing society along their preferred lines, that it didn't seem to occur to them that the state or ruling class might resist. Let's kind of broaden that picture a bit, what she just painted there. Let's elaborate on it a bit. She just she's somehow insinuating that the minority in the society can just I guess they have a button, or do they have a button to press to reorganize society? What is this mechanism that they're going to wield? Because why would you phrase it like this? Why would you phrase it like the state or ruling class might resist? So the minority, no matter how small it has a giant steamroller that they're about ready to steamroll all of society. That's kind of a good image. And the person driving the steamroller never occurred to them that the ruling class. So why would you call them the ruling class then? If they're the majority, that the state or ruling class, so that the ruling class would be the majority or the state. So you have, because the way I defined it earlier, you have capitalist state now, right? Still in your paradigm that you're painting here. So we're still dealing with capitalist state, let's call me a human, or you can call me a capitalist, whatever, you're socialist, okay? So you think that me and state, you think we're in cahoots. I got news for you. That's not right. That's not the truth. That would be wrong. If I'm getting anything in this lecture, dissertation, critique wrong about you, please let me know. If I have insinuated anything incorrectly, if I have manipulated your language in any way, please let me know. But the road to utopian socialism is a voluntaristic one. Okay. There is something oddly charming about the fact that they were so convinced, so they were delusional, of the appeal of the reorganization of society along their preferred lines. They were delusional about their eugenics plan, and they didn't seem to understand, or it didn't ever occur to them that the majority would resist. So what do you do then? You just infiltrate. You infiltrate. Some of Fourier's writings don't hold up at all. You don't say, really? His attitudes, oh my God, she's serious about this. She's delusional. I mean, you got to read this guy. He's fucking nuts. His attitude about non-European cultures were racist. And he was also anti-Semitic. Many 19th century... Okay, so hold on. He was racist, and he was also anti-Semitic. So this is what she's doing. She's now she's doing what I just described earlier, what Stalin did to Trotsky. She's now canceling him. She's calling him a Neanderthal or Thal. She's calling him a Stone Age, archaic, obsolete penis. Because he said bad words that she doesn't agree with. She doesn't know under what context or whatever. She doesn't get that. She just is probably has not read Fourier. She's probably just gathered it from the academic paper that she's probably either wrote or ripped off for this nonsense. But that's just a guess. I'm sorry if it's wrong. My bad. You led me down this path. I just deduced that maybe that was the case. Many 19th century European writers suffered from these prejudices, but in his case, they not only seem at odds with many of his strikingly modern ideas, but also probably reflect the sort of analytical confusion about capitalism for which Marx and Engels took him to task. The idea that Jews are more responsible than other groups for finance and commerce and are more susceptible to capitalist greed is bigoted. But it's also just not at all how capitalism works. Hold on. I'm trying to digest that last sentence on a second level. The idea that Jews are more responsible than other groups for finance and commerce and are more susceptible to capitalist greed is bigoted. But it's also just not how capitalism works. Oh, wait a minute. So, hold on. So wow. So she thinks that is the prevailing notion of capitalism. So she just told, okay, so that's interesting. That's really interesting. Do you think that the definition of capitalism is okay? This just keeps getting longer and longer. This is the definition. Jesus Christ. An economic and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit. That is the correct definition of capitalism. It is not the idea that Jews are more responsible than other groups for finance and commerce and are more susceptible to capitalist greed. That is not the definition of capitalism, nor is that in any way, shape, or form the prevailing notion of what capitalism is. Did an AI write this? Is this bad AI writing? This is a writer? She has a degree in writing? In telling stories? In journalism? Oh my God, I hope she doesn't have a master's. I fucking pray. I fucking pray she doesn't have a master's degree. My God. What if she's a doctor? What if she's a fucking... What if she teaches? My God. What a disaster. This is a dumpster fire. This is an absolute shit show. I'm just blown away. I am blown away by the current state of modern literature. Like, this is... What is this? This reaches 3 million people a month. Oh my God. We're doomed. This is it. We're fucked. We're so fucked. We're just so fucked. Oh my God. It's over. I don't even know how we made it this far. Oh, God. Capitalism is a material. What? What the fuck? Capitalism is not a material. What the fuck is this? I guess saving the best for last. Not a cultural phenomenon. I guess that's just the end of the sentence. Capitalism is a system. Okay, thank you. God, Jesus Christ. Finally, a factual fucking statement. Not a moral failing on the part of any specific people or groups. Yes, it is. What the... Capitalism is not a moral failing on the part of any specific people or groups? I have no comment for that. I got nothing. I'm sorry. We are all now we are all dumber for me having read this. I'm sorry. What a shit show. Somebody needs to, a friend or an advocate or a significant other or maybe a workmate or something needs to needs to find where Liza Featherstone is and take all of her pens away and please all of her typewriters or any kind of keyboard, any microphone, computer, pencils, paper. I mean, I'm talking like we got to make sure she's got to be in a place where she can't even go to like a stream and cultivate any ink. She's not allowed to write. She's not allowed to write any longer. This is we're revoking it. We're done here. None. No more. No more writing. I don't know how much more we can take. I'm being serious. God, Jesus Christ. The problems with this is going to be the last. This is the last sentence. No, this is the last two sentences. The problems with Fourier's thinking still matter. Can we get this woman some lessons or something in rhetoric? That's not even a sentence. That's a fucking fragment. The problem with Fourier's thinking still matter. That's a fragment. That's not even a whole sentence. And normally I would give people leeway if they're being professional writers on the internet, on a site that I'm assuming she's getting paid to do this. She reaches 3 million people a month. I would normally give somebody leeway like that. You can write a fragment if you are trying to make some kind of a statement. But you're not allowed to do that. You specifically are not allowed to do that. I would actually like it corrected. I'll check back. But his insights on women's liberation and human freedom, and his vision for a pleasure-seeking socialism, may be even more endearing or enduring. Whatever. Okay, I'm going to save this. Liza Featherstone is a columnist for Jacobin, a freelance journalist, and the author of Selling women short, the landmark battle for women's rights at Walmart. I wonder if she advocates for eugenics in that as well. And or free child love. Interesting. I won't be reading it, but we have to make sure she doesn't write another book. No more pencils. Seriously, this is the end.